One of Virginia's more creative accusations was I'm somehow colonizing history because I dared to make a video about families that she doesn't believe I'm descended from. But I have to admit, it's fascinating how she's trying to draw state lines around family histories. That is the most colonizer mindset that is out there. Guess what? All of these state lines are made up. Colonization was about the violent seizure of lands, resources, culture, the erasure of entire peoples and histories. I am literally doing the opposite of colonization. I'm pulling stories out from the shadows and giving them the attention they deserve. Attention that many mainstream narratives, mainstream historians, mainstream histories have denied them. If that's colonizing, I think we need to revisit our definition. And here's a little secret. History isn't neat. It's not clean. And it's certainly not something you can gatekeep based on your last name or your zip code. Hi, my name is Danielle Romero, and thank you so much for being with me here on my channel where we talk about American identity and family stories. And I put a video out yesterday about the red bones. Now, it's not like the only video I've ever done about red bones. I have a lot of red bone heritage on my mom's side, and it's been really interesting to piece together that history. And as I've been doing the work, I came across an ethnographer named McDonald Furman, who was not a red bone, but he was kind of obsessed with the community. And we have him to thank for a lot of interviews and things that have been preserved. But in the video, I was kind of just weighing in the balance. Where does that line get drawn for creating kind of a spectacle and a curiosity out of people and preserving history? And so there was this lady who had a lot to say on Facebook. I would say 99% of the comments I get from people are overwhelmingly positive, but I do welcome criticism. I always welcome criticism and feedback, constructive criticism, so we can have a conversation, right? And it looked like that was the way she was going, and then it kind of took a turn. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of the accusations she made, not because she's so important, but because I think as we're doing this work, she is pretty much a cliche. I'm going to blur her face and her name for your protection. So let's jump in, and I'll put some of these things on the screen. So the first thing I want to say is that she accused me of cultural appropriation. So she said, people reconnecting to their ancestors is not appropriation, but an outsider, meaning me, using another family's history to write an opinion piece on for views and money, and not even bothering to reach out to the community that still lives in South Carolina, Sumter, and then dropping your merch info in the middle of a vlog is cultural appropriation, Danielle Romero. Your own family history seems interesting itself. Why do you feel the need to monetize off of our family history? Seems like very colonizing. Colonizing and capitalistic approach. Perhaps you should have let the privateers' descendants speak on their own family history and stick to your own. And I just responded, thank you for tagging me in this. I'm an American historian. I love to study and learn about all parts of this messy American story. So there's some stuff to unpack here. Let's unpack it. So let's get right to it. The accusation first of cultural appropriation. I think it is interesting how that term gets thrown around these days. Virginia seems to believe that by exploring the history of families that I'm not directly descended to, and also she doesn't know that. I'm not sure why she's saying that. Let's pretend that if I was exploring the history of families I wasn't descended from, that I'm somehow appropriating their story. Now, I have to say, it is fascinating to me how the term cultural appropriation has been stretched in ways that make it almost unrecognizable. Cultural appropriation is not what happened here. If talking about history is cultural appropriation, then we better shut down every classroom, every library, every museum, because no one then has the right to speak on anything unless they have a personal stake in it. And let's take this to the farthest place that we can go with it. Is Miss Virginia going to demand people take DNA tests before they can talk about this history? I am a trained historian. I double majored in history as an undergrad. I have my master's in education from a very rigorous school. I have taught in various places all over the country. Now, one of Virginia's more creative accusations was I'm somehow colonizing history because I dared to make a video about families that she doesn't believe I'm descended from. And I really I think we are in an era where there are buzzwords that people use, and to be honest, I don't think that they are using the word that they think they are using. Colonization was about the violent seizure of lands, resources, culture, the erasure of entire peoples and histories. I am literally doing the opposite of colonization. I'm pulling stories out from the shadows and giving them the attention they deserve. Attention that many mainstream narratives, mainstream historians, mainstream histories have denied them. If that's colonizing, I think we need to revisit our definitions. And then she made a comment about my Goins ancestors not being connected to her Goins ancestors because mine are in Louisiana and not South Carolina, even though mine originally were in South Carolina and moved over to Louisiana. It's fascinating how she's trying to draw state lines around family histories. That is the most colonizer mindset that is out there. Guess what? All of these state lines are made up. And if you go stand in any of these areas in between these states, you're not going to see a line written down the middle of the dirt because it's not real. Okay, these lines have changed over time. If you knew the history of Louisiana, you would know that Louisiana, the Louisiana Territory, the Louisiana Purchase encompassed a huge swath of our country. And then it shrunk down to what we now call the state of Louisiana. That genealogy doesn't follow straight paths. People move, people migrate, people are pushed out. And then there's this capitalistic critique. Virginia took issue with the fact that I just started offering merchandise in my videos, calling it a capitalistic move to make money off of someone else's history. Okay, let's pause for a moment here. First of all, Virginia, you're making these comments on Facebook, probably using a smartphone. Facebook is a multi-billion-dollar platform that thrives on monetizing your data, your posts, your activity, and frankly, monetizing your outrage. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm a historian who's creating content that is freely available, sharing all of my knowledge, all of my mistakes, all of my learning with the public. This isn't a corporate-backed production. I'm sitting in an office at home. My kids are asleep upstairs, and I have a load of laundry I have to put in, a load of laundry I have to put out, fold a bunch of clothes, get lunches ready for tomorrow. This whole colonizer, capitalistic argument is a smokescreen. And that's why I don't have any bad feelings towards her, but I think her words are a great reminder to us that if we all stuck to only talking about our own direct ancestors, we'd have an incredibly narrow view of the world, wouldn't we? And let's be clear, again, I'm a trained historian. My passion is to seek out these stories, to connect the dots, and to share them with others. And here's a little secret. History isn't neat. It's not clean, and it's certainly not something you can gatekeep based on your last name or your zip code. And if you're that eager to shut people out of the conversation, I would ask you to think about what you're really afraid of. Today, I'm here to connect with you. I'm not here to fight over whose ancestors lived where. We're all branches at the end of the day from the same tree. And the sooner we embrace that, the richer our understanding of our shared history will become. But make no mistake, I'm not going to apologize for being curious, for digging into the complexities of our shared past, or for making that knowledge available to everyone. And if you'd like to watch the video that sparked this debate, I'll link to it below. Otherwise, we'll talk soon. Over the last 2 years, I've been telling the stories that often get ignored. But lately, I've been facing an uphill battle behind the scenes of each video. My videos are getting flagged by YouTube when all I'm doing is sharing real history. If these stories have ever resonated with you or given you a new perspective, grab some Be a Good Ancestor merch and help me keep this channel going. Check out nytonashville.com.